Our live stream is up now. Welcome everyone to our third and fourth grade service. Welcome. We're going to have a very special service this evening. We're also going to have some music. John is going to be playing for us, and also it's a very special day for John as well. Anyone want to guess?
Happy birthday, John!
John's birthday!
Happy birthday! Feliz cumpleaños!
Feliz cumpleaños. Feliz cumpleaños de. Okay, so let's start our service with the Kibbalah up at the front. We're going to move the microphone so that the lights can be heard loud and clear. Hinema Tov is going to be our first prayer. We're going to start. What page is that on, Shayna? Page 5, okay? Page 5 of our Siddurim. We're going to start with Hinema Tov.
I'm going to give you a little bit of an intro and then you guys, okay?
Hinema Tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinema Tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinema Tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hinema Tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hinema Tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinema Tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinema Tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hinema Tov shevet achim gam yachad. Now I'm going to turn to page 6 of our Sidurims. Join together for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei El Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei El Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei El Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei El Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now I'd like to invite up all of our parents of our students to please light our candles, our Shabbos candles, on page 7 of our Sidurims. There's a responsive reading that's in English that you'll join together in leading us with. And then in the Hebrew blessing, we'll join together as one. Page 7.
Come, let us welcome Shabbat.
May its radiance illuminate our hearts.
Light is the symbol of the divine.
The eternal is my light and my salvation.
Light is the symbol of the divine within us.
The human spirit is the light of the eternal.
Light is the symbol of the divine law.
For the mitzvah is a lamp and the Torah a light.
Light is the symbol of Israel's mission.
I, the eternal, have made you a covenant people, a light to the nations.
Thank you.
Want to do it together? All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahalit ner shel Shabbat. Amen. And together in the English, blessed are you, O eternal our God, who makes our lives holy through divine mitzvot and has commanded us to kindle the lights of Shabbat. May the Eternal bless us with Shabbat joy.
Amen.
May the Eternal bless us with Shabbat peace.
Amen.
May the Eternal bless us with Shabbat holiness.
Amen.
Amen. Yasher koach. Congrats. Thank you. Shabbat shalom. Page 9 and 10, we have Lechad Odi. John is going to be leading us in the musical accompaniment along with our kids. Page 9 and 10 is Lechad Odi. Ready, guys? Lechad Odi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lechad Odi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Shamor V'Zachor V'Dibor Echad Ki Yishmi'anu El Hanucha Adonai Echad U'Shemo Echad L'Shem U'Tiferet V'Litihila Lechad Odi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lechad Odi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu V'Nelcha Ki Mekor HaBrecha Mirosh Mikedem Nesuka Sof Ma'asa B'Makshvatila Lechad Odi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lechad Odi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Hi Ori Kiva Orekumi Ori Shir Daberi Kavod Adonai Alai Nigla Lechad Odi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lechad Odi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Boi v'shalom atzeret bala Gam b'simcha u'v'tzola Toch emunei am segula Boi kala Lechad Odi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lechad Odi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Shkoyach. Remain standing now on page 11 for the Hatzi Kaddish. Page 11 is the Hatzi Kaddish. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah B'yalmot yivrach yirutev yanich malchutei B'cha hayechon u'v'yoymechon u'chayetechol beis Yisrael Ba'agala u'vizman karib Yemeru Amen Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach Le'olam le'olmei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnasei v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei Kudashah B'rechu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran v'ayalmad v'yemeru Amen. And then standing on page 12 with the Baruch Hu, our children as well as John will lead us in the Baruch Hu on page 12. בית המבורך. Men standing on page 12, our children will lead us together, as well as we will read the English that is in a bold italicized text on page 13 of our Siddurees. So we'll read it together, boys. Eternal God, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, not let your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv arevim. Blessed are you, O Eternal, who brings on the evening. At the bottom of page 14, we'll also join together in English. Our boys will join together in leading us with that as well. With eternal love, you have loved your people, the house of Israel, Torah and commandments, statutes and judgments you've taught us. Therefore, O eternal our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will discuss your statutes and rejoice in the words of your Torah and your commandments forever. For they are our lives, and they lengthen our days, and we will meditate upon them day and night. May you never remove your love from us forever and ever. Blessed are you, O Eternal, who loves God's people, Israel. Page 15, we're going to join together for the Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Mahuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Mahuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shem Kevod Mahuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Mahuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. You may be seated. Page 16, we have the V'ahavta prayer. Page 16 of our Siddurees is the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'chayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'vletecha v'derech u'shachbecha u'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot el yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kiroshim lelolechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Emet. Page 17 of our Sidurims, we're going to also have a responsive reading. I'd like if our boys will lead us in the responsive reading on page 17. Our congregation will join together with the italicized text. I'll accompany you with the English unless you guys want to do it on your own. What do you want to do? You guys got it? You got it? Okay. Go ahead.
It's not just easy that you are alone, or God, and there is none else.
May the righteous of all the nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares.
Let them beat their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation. Let them study war no more.
You shall not hate another in your heart. You shall love your neighbor as yourself.
Let the stranger in your midst be to your as the native, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
For the house of bondage, we went forth to freedom. So let all be free and sing with joy. That's a beautiful moment where he said, we got this, by the way. Page 18 is Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha Ba'alim Adonai. Micha Mocha Nedar by Kodesh. Nora Teilot Osei Fele. Machutecha ra'u vanecha bo keyam lifnei Moshe ze Eli anu v'yamru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar ki farad Adonai et Yaakov uglo miyad hazach mimenu Baruch ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 19, we had again a responsive reading. You guys got it again?
Yes.
Okay. Beginning with cause us.
Cause us, O eternal our God, lie down in peace and to awaken each
morning.
to renew life and strength.
Spread over us the holy shelter of your peace.
Help us to order our lives by your counsel and lead us in the paths of righteousness. Be a shield about us, protecting us from hate and war, from pestilence and sorrow.
Live also within us in the inclination
To do evil and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Guard our going and our coming unto life and peace from this time forth and forever.
Blessed are you, O Eternal, whose holy shelter of peace is spread over us and over God's people, Israel, and over Jerusalem. Page 20 is Vishamru. Page 20, once again, it's Vishamru. John's going to be leading us in the musical component to Vishamru. Vishamru, Bnei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, le'doretam berit olam. Vishamru, Bnei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, le'doretam berit olam. Bnei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru, Bnei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, le'doretam berit olam. Ki shet yamim asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. Vishamru, Bnei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, le'doretam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru, Bnei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. Now we stand for Tefillah, the Amidah prayer on page 21 of our Sidurims. The Amidah prayer may be found on page 21 of our Sidurims. And boys, we're going to face the ark. Adonai sefatatifu fiyagi tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomer Hasadim Toivim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chazdei Avot V'Imachot, U'Mevi Geula Lifnei Bnechem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozel Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham ve'Izrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rab Le'Hoshia, Mashivo Ruach U'Marit HaGeshem, Mekalkel Hayim B'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Soimech Noflim V'Rofei Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Baal Kiburot, Umido Melach, Melech Nimit, Umekayem, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah le'ahayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shim hakadosh, u'v'koshim b'chol yom yihallelu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. We daven silently until page 29, where we will join together for Oseh Shalom. we're going to join together on page 29 for Oseh Shalom. Yaseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Imru Amen. Yaseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Yaseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 In Peru, Amen. Actually, leave room for Josh. Sit down too. You both can sit there. So good Shabbos, everyone. That's better. Shabbat Shalom. Let my people go. This phrase is repeated again and again in this week's Torah reading. Moses and Aaron go before Pharaoh on behalf of Am Yisrael, the people of Israel, to plead for their permission to leave Egypt and to wander the desert towards freedom. However, plagues befell Egypt, and Pharaoh's heart hardened with each of those requests. In this week's Torah reading, Moses approaches Pharaoh 5 times, pleading, "Let my people go." And with each plague, Pharaoh grows more spiteful of Am Yisrael, the people of Israel. Again and again, this is the story of our people, the Jewish people. Our story in Exodus, as we told in this week's Torah reading, sets the tone for our people as it does to this very day. Our story of again and again, it has repeated itself for thousands of years. We suffered, we were victims. Again and again, ruthless tyrants deprived us of our humanity, our freedom, and our lives. But we also repeatedly stood up to pharaohs, stood up to tyrants, and to demigods. In our Torah reading, Moses and Aaron, they go before Pharaoh not once or twice. They go before Pharaoh again and again. They were persistent. They did not give up. They endured. They prevailed. This is also the other part of our story as the Jewish people. One side of our story cannot be complete without the other. Again and again also chronicles our heroic fight against evil and our confrontation against oppression. Isaac Bashevis Singer once said that the Jews, they are a people who cannot sleep, but will not let others sleep as well. And Singer meant by this that we will not settle for mediocrity in our lives. When a crime is committed against us or others, our kishkas, our stomachs, they tell us to speak up and to speak out. And speaking out against anti-Semitism is no different. We cannot settle for again and again when we were and have been oppressed. And numerous Jewish organizations, they adopted the aphorism of never again, which is now the catchphrases on many social media accounts for their platforms. These organizations, though, they echo the call of our people heard for well over many millennia. And over a few decades ago, the call of "Let my people go," it was used by Jewish organizations to call for the Soviet Union to free its Jewish captives from bondage. And facing the real possibility that the Soviet Union's Jews may be rounded up and sent away to Azerbaijan and Siberia, Jewish groups across the globe, with the Holocaust fresh in their collective memory, loudly called out to say in unison, "Never again." This is the message of this week's Torah reading, and it seems very prescient to our upcoming International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Moses and Aaron, they go before Pharaoh several times in this week's Torah reading. Even after being dismissed, they continued to approach him again and again. They did not give up. They stood up against oppression. They spoke out and played an active role in their world as our people. And because of them, we were ultimately redeemed from oppression. Again and again, ruthless tyrants, they have tried to deprive us of our humanity, our freedom, and our lives, but again and again, we've stood up against them, against tyrants, the tyrants of our people. To say never again is now. The moment we either throw up our hands and give up, or become complacent to sinat hinam, that is subhuman bondage, to slavery, to anti-Semitism, it is the moment that we have forgotten our narrative of again and again. The moment we allow political discourse to interfere with our holy crusade against anti-Semitism, it is the moment that we lose that meaning to be a Jew. The moment we see our children's eyes roll at the word Holocaust or the Freedom for Soviet Jewry movement, it is the moment we have failed at that holy mission. And I often fear that my generation is failing in that holy endeavor. Anti-Semitism is once again rising, and our generation has become very, very unprepared for it. And as Jews, the battle of anti-Semitism is a battle that we must all stand behind. But unfortunately, we often can't. We desire to hear words from like-minded people, so we limit who is acceptable to ourselves in our world. We have, on occasions, even sandbagged entire organizations for opposing political views and careless leaderships. We have become, as a result, often disconnected from the hatred ravaging our own community. Just this week, I read on Facebook that one of my clerical colleagues suggested that we begin treating violent anti-Semitism as a mental illness rather than with criminal pursuits. At the very end of my Year in Israel program, I ran into a hero of mine, Natan Sharansky. He was walking on the streets of Jerusalem. And after sharing this story with my classmates, these are rabbinical students, they asked me with starry eyes, who was Natan Sharansky? See, brothers and sisters, I can suggest no one better embodies our week's Torah portion than Natan Sharansky. He was held captive in the Soviet Union to die, exit visa, from the Soviet Union to Israel. He was imprisoned 9 years in the Soviet Union because he would not be silenced about the Soviet Union's oppression against its Jews. And while in prison, his wife Abital began a campaign for her husband's release under the banner, "Let my people go." And from inside Soviet gulags, visitors smuggled him books of Psalms to Sharansky, and he secretly began to write his memoir, Fear No Evil. And in his memoirs, Sharansky poignantly pointed out that the path of liberation of self could not be found in denying our own roots while pursuing universal goals. On the contrary, we as Jews must deepen our commitments because only he who understands their own identity and has become a free person at soul can work effectively for the human rights of all. When I saw him on the streets of Jerusalem, I hugged him, I thanked him. See, much of my family had been refuseniks. They were denied exit visas from the Soviet Union. I told Sharansky that I would not be where I was on that day or here today without his work. When we cease or limit our pursuit of liberation of our own people's body and soul from hatred and from subhuman conditions, it inevitably leads to a rise in anti-Semitism. When we forget what our people have endured, we lose ourselves. And it spells a recipe for complacency and for the normalization of anti-Semitism. And unfortunately, this process has begun. We must discuss our narrative of again and again with the future generation, and any generation's disconnect from our narrative's past must not be affirmed with calming reassurances and presence. It alienates our victims from our own narrative's truth. And as we enter into this week's Torah portion, as we read in Parshas Vayera, our narrative shows that again and again a tyrant has risen up against us, and we have again and again prevailed against them. We've been called to take a stand for our people and all people, and we only prevail if we are persistent. We must not be complacent, and we must not excuse anti-Semitism. We need an overwhelming voice to say, never again is now. Ken Yeh Ratzon, may it be God's will. Amen. Our thoughts and prayers will now turn to members of our community who are in need of a healing of mind, body, and or of spirit for the Misha Barak prayer. The Misha Barak prayer may be found in the very back of our Sidurims. I'll be reciting names that have been provided to me from our Misha Barak list. After these names have been read aloud, I'd like to ask if anyone would like to add any names to that list. Our Misha Barak list for today include the following names: Evan Mitchell Wadika, Sia Bat Margalit, Elise Souza, Suzanne Wadika, Ruth Dowse, Jerry Dowse, Vicky Hyatt, Bill Natchez, Miriam Mendel Ben Shira, Nachman Ben Malka, Shlomo Lev Ben Malka, Ellen Lewis, Esther Baruth, Yehuda Ben Joseph, Russ Canary, Jeffrey Stein, Jeffrey Koffler, Evan Evers, Claudia Schafter, Courtney Zabadik, Linda Bloom, Eileen Blitz, Linda Wilson, Rhoda Jacobs, Bucky Bunnell, Linda Goteb, Sylvia Stern, Myra Levis, Evie Schneider, Dr. Sharon Anita Wander, Sonia Richmond, Susan Skovernick, Fran Salewitz, Marge Estrin, Yisrael Rubin, Ben Devorah Alka, Stuart Kaufman, Ivan Radowitz, Ellen Thompson, Asher Ephraim, Bob Salewitz, Yvette Zamos, Michael Berkowitz, Hannah Sarah Rivka, Sharon Bekas, Sharon Berman, Mindel Bela Bat Sarah Riva. Are there any additional names anyone would like added? Yes.
Steve and Carol Lichtenstein,
Steve and Carol Lichtenstein,
Corinne Liz,
Kern Liz,
Corky Hockenberry,
Corky Hockenberry,
and Roger Bloomfield.
Roger Bloomfield. Yes.
Alan, Barbara, and Alicia Steinberg.
Alan, Barbara, and Alicia Steinberg.
Betty Droppin.
Betty Droppin. Are there any additional names? No? Okay. The words to the Misha Barak prayer may be found at the very back of our siblings. Please rise as the ark is being opened. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Nisheverach imoitenu mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah sholema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Remain standing for the Aleinu on page 30 of our Siddureans. The Aleinu that we found on page 30 of our Siddureans. Aleinu l'shalbeach la'idon ha'kol la'teit gedula liyotzeh b'reishit shalo atzanu k'giyeh ha'ratzot velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shalo sam kalpinu kachem v'gor aleinu k'chol chamonam v'anachnu korim oy mishtachavim oy maitim Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu netei shamayim v'yosed haaretz u'moshev yekaro b'shamayim mima'al ushchinatu zo b'govrei meroimim hu Eloheinu ein od Emimokenu epesulato Kagatuv b'toirato v'yadata hayom v'hoshevota elabebecha ki Adonai hu Elohim v'shamayim mima'al Ya'aretz mitachot Ein od. Page 31, we join together in the English. We therefore hope in you, O eternal our God, soon to behold the splendor of your might. Then will false gods vanish from the earth, and the idols will be utterly cut off to heal the world through the sovereignty of the Almighty. Then will all acclaim you as their God, and forsaking evil, turn to you alone. Let all who dwell on earth acknowledge that unto you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you, O eternal our God, let them humble themselves. To your glorious name let them give honor. Let all accept the yoke of your dominion, that you may rule over them soon and forever. For the dominion is yours, and you will rule in glory, as it is written, the eternal will reign forever and ever. V'ne'emar v'chaya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. You may be seated. So in a moment, I'll be reciting names from our yard site list, as well as members of our community who have recently passed. After the names have been read aloud, if there is any names that you'd like added to the list, please share with us the names of your loved ones so that we as one community may pray for the elevation of their neshama to Shemayim. Recently passed from our community are the following names: Steve Goldblum, Jacob George Tobel, Peter Lizana, Stan Perlman, David Schneider, Raphael Marcus, Florence Schneider, Sylvia Tannenbaum, Florence Gottmacher, Philip Moret, Bruce Fleischig. Our yard site list continues with the following names: Harry Hayers, Jerome Pollack, George Feldman, Aaron Salowitz, Lena Cohen, Sidney Applebaum, Elliot Levis, Howie Korn, Millie Estrin, Max Porras, Marty Pine, Arnold Flam, Etta Sperbeck, Beatrice Korn, Daniel Wander, Dina Lerner, Howard Barron, Ann Langmore, Jerome Roth, Pauline Schwartz, Sheila Lewis, Charles Fleischig, Cecile Libros, Jay Fox, Youngku Chow, Ruth Levinson, Gary Friedman, Stephen Finkel, Harry Gottmacher, Leo Blumenstock, Bernice Bodak, Louis Rothberg, Edward Spivak, Molly Netterman, Bertha Friedman, Shirley Wyton. Also, we have added to the list Charlie Trelaskowitz, Abe Rogovich, Stephen Rozovsky. Are there any additional names anyone is observing a yard site for today or in the period of Shoshimah? Sylvia Ryan. Any additional names from anyone? Okay, if it is your custom, please rise. The mourner's Kaddish may be found on page 33 of our Siddureens. The mourner's Kaddish is on page 33 of our Siddureens. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei rabah ve'alma divrachi rutzei v'yamnich malchutei ve'chayechon ovyonechon u'chayei devol beis Yisrael va'engela u'izman kari v'imru amen Yehei shmei rabah mivarak li'olam olamei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shamei d'kudusha b'reichu La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nakamata damiran v'yama v'imru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'imru amen Aseh shalom yinaman hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all who are bereaved, and let us say, Amen. We now may be seated, and we have some brief but uplifting announcements. Who's it going to be today?
I know, I'll do it.
It's going to be the kids. That's who it's going to be.
Wait, I have it on.
Yeah, just walk very slowly.
Very slowly.
Okay. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. So, wait, I just had it. Sorry. Oh, so tomorrow we have Torah study and we have services. Alrighty. So worship is at 10:15 tomorrow. We have links on their email, our weekly email. And then our next Havdalah and game night is going to be February 4th at 6:30. Join us for a quick Havdalah service, followed by Nosh. Bring your favorite game to play with others. This is open to all ages. And then we have information on Sabrina Singer's Bat Mitzvah project online. And then there's some special services coming up. Student Shabbat will be next Saturday, January 28th, and a refugee Shabbat. And then our consecration Shabbat is going to be February 3rd, where new Hebrew school students get their prayer books. Then we have another special Shabbat on Student Shabbat on February 11th, which is also going to be our new member Shabbat and then new member Shabbat. And then Shabbat Across America is going to be on March 3rd. And then before you know it, it's going to be Purim. Am I just reading this wrong?
Yeah, new member Shabbat is also on March 3rd.
Yeah, March 3rd.
Oh, so Student Shabbat is just February 11th. Oh, I miss Liz. She writes it out all nice for me. Because I can't see. Oh, so Student Shabbat is February 11th. Then new member Shabbat and Shabbat Across America is March 3rd. And then Purim Cafe, which is going to be a potluck dinner, our Megillah reading and spiel, is going to be March 6th. And then the little kids catered to are going to lead a service also, in March. Let's see if there's anything else. Well, one thing I could say as past president, if you are interested in joining the board, please reach out, because we definitely need new board members to help us out. So reach out to me if you're interested. And then this week we have a ritual committee meeting on January 27th. And then coming soon, I should have looked at this part. This part had the dates all nice. Look on our weekly email. Sorry, look on our weekly email because it has all the information that I just butchered. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Good Shabbos. Shabbat shalom. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
This is why we need more people to join the board, because I'm just a mess.
We keep on having volunteers of young kids. I know David was very excited.
I know. 18 and over. Yes, 18 and over.
He's waiting. He's waiting with the application. All right, we're going to join together for Adon Olam on page 34 of our Siddurim. Adon Olam is on page 34, and then afterwards we're going to invite all the kids to come up here, and we're going to sing Bilam. Page 34 for Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nira Li'et Nasa B'chevzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'Yachad Rei Kitlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Noira Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'hu Yiyeh B'Tifara Ve'hu Echad B'Ein Sheni Lehamshilo Le'achbira Bili Reshit Bili Tachlit Velo Ha'oz Ve'Hamizra Ve'hu Eli Bechaye Goali Betzor Hevli V'Yesara Ve'hu Nisi Umanos Li Menat Kosi Beyom Ekra B'Yado Avkid Ruchi V'yetzi shan mi'ayira V'im ruchi geviyati Adonai li velo ira. Good Good Shabbos, everyone. Good Shabbos, everyone. I'd like to invite all the kids to join us for Bim Bam. That's all. You don't have to be 8. Come on, never too young. Aww. Hello.
Guys all ready? We're all assembled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam.
Everybody now.
Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom. Bim bam bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, la 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 la. Bim bam bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbos, everyone. Shabbat shalom. How's it with all of you? This is your first time in shul? Synagogue? Yes. Little shy. What is your name?
Cams.
Hmm?
Cameron.
Cameron. Hi, Cameron. I understand. How's Cameron?
He's good.
How old? How old?
Oh, he's 2.
2. Okay. Who would like to lead us in the brachas over the hamotzi as well as for the yayin? We got Steven. He's just nodding. That means I'm your guy tonight. All right. It's gonna be Steven. All right.